Welcome, everybody. This is Jasmine with Ethereal Pathways. Thank you for joining. I wanted to do a collective channel message for people tuning in today. Um, I'm trying to be a little bit quieter because my daughter is with me this weekend and she is in the other room, still sleeping. It's a little bit early. It's about, it's before 7 a.m. I wanted to try to get a channeling out because I just felt like there was a message that needed to come out today. Took a day off yesterday to spend with my daughter. It's my weekend. So I wanted to get this message out. Before I was channeling, I heard a name of Frank. I don't know if that means anything to anybody. It doesn't really mean anything to me, I know for sure. But Frank, the name Frank came through. Again, use these discernments. Use discernment on these messages. Use your intuition. One or two things, or all of these things may resonate for you that could relate to something that you're going through or relate to you in some way. But if something doesn't resonate for you, maybe a couple things do, please take what resonates and leave the rest. I always say this with my collective messages because there's many people that I channel for, and some messages could be for particular people, and use them as confirmation that this is your message. But if you don't get anything that hits, but the general message hits, again, take what resonates and leave the rest, because that's what this is meant for the public. So, and the collective I'm attached to, or channeling for. I've already said my prayers just before I started recording, to help clear the space and allow the divine to come through with messages of confirmations for people. And we'll see what comes through. So I'm going to take a few seconds to meditate, tap in a little bit deeper. So feel free, if you don't want to wait through this period while I meditate, to put your finger on the screen to kind of fast forward for a few seconds until I do. So one of the first messages that I popped in my head was duck. I don't know if that means anything for anybody. But then, I don't know, duck or ducky. Maybe that's a nickname. I also have that name of Frank that came through just before I, came to start this reading as I was, washing my hands. I'm hearing ethers. What do you want the collective to know, Spirit? Please speak through me. What do you want the collective to know? What do they need to know? Free Spirit coming through. And again, I usually, if you're new to my channel, a lot of times I will get specific words that come through to me. That may mean certain words may mean something to somebody. And then there's usually a message that comes through afterwards that ties in some of these things that just comes through. Again, take what resonates and leave the rest. Passion fruit. I don't. That Mickey. The name Mickey, I guess, or Mickey Mouse. I don't know why stationery came through again. That came through the other day. Reroute. Broken. And I did hear like a free spirit, but now I'm hearing broken and broken spirit. Nature. Cosmic. I don't know why I'm getting the word banana. Leader. Teacher. Watcher. Makeup. Or the word doll. or Dolly. I'm feeling like it's high E, not a Y. 122 number coming through. 55. Semi. Want keep hearing the word cereal. Well, I'm hearing heart chakra. That did come out. That and 55 came out in another reading the other day. So did stationary. But again, take what resonates and leave the rest for somebody else. 22, like in particular, just 22, the number 22. Planning. Spokesperson. Guide. Lost. The word, the name Jeremy. Sorry about that. Myrtle. Oh, wait. MYR. Path. Mm, I'm hearing Pathfinder specifically. Break cycle. What is the message? that you wish to convey to the collective that I'm speaking to. Third eye, like the third eye chakra. Blockage. Forester is another name that comes through. Like maybe it's the last name or a name of something like either a last name or the name of a car model or something like Subaru Forester or something. That also could be a last name. Blue is the color coming through as well. The color blue could be significant. There are truths that are coming through your third eye. This is for somebody. There are downloads and there are truths and insights and enlightenment that is coming through to your third eye to show you your path. You are a pathfinder, a way shower, teacher, a guide. And there was a channel message, I believe it's 2 days ago that I posted. I think it was Friday. Again, all my messages are timeless. So no matter when you are watching the messages, it's for you to meant to see that at that time. Again, take what messages resonate for you and leave the rest for someone else. Maybe not all of these words will give you confirmations for you. It could be for somebody else. Again, these messages, all my messages are timeless. You can watch them in 2 years, 2 weeks, 2 days, whatever. Again, there's 222. That's funny. I got 22 earlier and 122. February 12th is a date I'm getting. I don't know if that's a special date for somebody or a birthday. Aquarius. Gemini. and Pisces. So I think that what I'm feeling is there's a heart chakra clearing taking place right now with somebody. Allow the emotions to come, when they're appropriate. Obviously, if you got to work a job, sometimes you have to maybe, you know, wait until you have some private time. But allow the emotions to be fully expressed. Whatever you're grieving, somebody's grieving something very significant. And I do feel, for some people, there's a loss of a loved one. It could be recent, it could be a long time ago, but there was blockages in there for this person or this collective that I'm talking to. You suffered a huge loss, and it's also, I believe, not helped, but it maybe created some blockages in your third eye, or your third eye is now activating and coming online, and you're starting to get realizations, you're starting to get spiritual insights and intuitive hits yourself, synchronicities. You start seeing repeating numbers that's new to you. That is part of the awakening journey. I started seeing those soon after befriending my twin flame, or who I believe was my twin flame, at work. We worked together. If you haven't heard any of my previous videos about who I am and my background, some of my early videos of my podcast that I was doing, I spoke about how me and, who I believe my twin flame to be, and I didn't even believe in twin flames. I was pretty spiritually minded, less religious, but way more spiritually minded and open to astrology and, mystic arts, mediums, and things like that. I was fascinated by it and pulled to it, but I didn't know what twin flames were. I'd heard the term, but I didn't really know what they were. And you may or may not believe in that, but I'm just going to share, my story real quick. I worked with him for several years, and when we first met, the first, I don't know how many days I worked there. When I met him, it could have been the first 2 or 3 days. I believe, pretty sure it was the first week I worked there. The second we met eyes and, said hi or thank you or whatever, nice to meet you, there was an instant like, wow, that I said in my head to myself, because I couldn't explain, like, soul recognition, but also excitement. There was something about that. Now, at the time, I was in a relationship. I don't believe in cheating. Absolutely not. And in fact, I don't believe in having typically guy friends when I'm in a committed monogamous relationship, whether it be, dating or engaged or, marriage. And for some reason, we worked together probably several years, and then there was a moment when he was about to go through, he was making a decision to go through a divorce. And, he approached me at work one day. We had mutual friends at work, and we were talking, and he approached me after, the person left and we were alone, and kind of wanted to befriend me. He thought that maybe we can help each other, because I had just made a decision that I was pretty sure I was about to go through a divorce myself. And he thought maybe we can support ourselves as friends and then see where it goes. So there was obviously a romantic interest there. Again, I don't step out, even if I'm going through a divorce. I don't believe in that. Personally, I don't judge anybody that does any different, but I don't do that. And I was not willing to jump right into another relationship. I was willing to be as friends and learn to heal. And again, it was out of support that I was open to this person. There was definitely chemistry there. There was connection. Um, and so, but there was, the honeymoon phase, and then there was the triggering that began of core wounds on both of our sides. And oops, I don't think it's a coincidence that the rose quartz got hit there and this one, but that's really, help healing your heart. But the other day I had channeled through a heart chakra uh, clearing for the Twin Flame Collective. And it just so happened, and no, I did not plan this because I don't do stuff like that. I was intuitively guided to wear a green shirt, which correlates with the heart chakra color. Again, I didn't realize that until I was in the middle of channeling and I was talking about heart chakra. And then it dawned on me and I was brought to my attention by spirit that I was wearing a green shirt. And I love getting confirmations from spirit like that. Again, yes, that's third eye stuff. That's things that's brought through your third eye and spiritual insights, things like that. And somebody may be questioning, maybe synchronicities, intuitive hits that they're getting. And I just want to offer, my suggestion: trust in your intuition. There's going to be times you're going to question, especially early in the journey, if you're just now awakening and you're new to spirituality. Maybe you're coming, from a very religious background like I did, a very religious upbringing and culture in my family. Again, go with what you are guided to believe. Like that, you've got to learn how to have an open mind, especially when you're going through a spiritual awakening. It's going to question your beliefs. It's going to battle those self-limiting beliefs that you have, whether it's religious, cultural, relationship, traditions of your family, of maybe even dating somebody outside of your culture. I'm picking up on that. Somebody of like maybe Asian, like Indian, like culture, feeling drawn towards somebody in a different culture completely. It could be another somebody across the globe, but you feel a special connection to this person, and no, it's not lust, it's not anything that you can really explain, but you feel like you know them, you feel like there's something there and you can't explain. It's you're being pulled magnetically to somebody for a reason. And that's exactly what happened with, my twin flame was, he came to me and initiated the friendship, and it didn't go any further than that. Again, I don't believe in doing that, especially at work, proper work etiquette. And it wasn't allowed. So, especially since he was like basically a manager of a department. And, I was kind of, in a way, high up in the company, and it's inappropriate to do that. And so there was boundaries there, but there was definitely a connection. And when you feel that, it's going to be very difficult at times because you're going to question your beliefs. You're going to question what you're feeling. You're going to think, is this lust? Is this love? And you're going to be triggered. Your core wounds are going to be triggered, whether that's abandonment, rejection, fear of rejection. Your fears are going to be triggered. Traumas from the past are going to be triggered and brought up. And that's for you. That's not the other person doing that on purpose. That's your souls working together to try to help clear blockages in your chakra system. And some of that could be limiting, self-limiting beliefs from religious background, from unworthiness wound, all kinds of things. And again, try to look at it from a higher perspective. I always say this because spiritual awakening is your soul crying out for more, crying out to be more authentic and to be more one with thyself and come closer to the divine within. It's going to drive you within, and you always have free will choice. Some of you may be contemplating a move, um, or to travel, or to correspond with, this person you could be drawn to. But I urge people to don't focus necessarily on the relationship or the desire. Try to focus first on yourself, because that's what this journey is about. That's whether you're a twin flame or not. Again, you can choose not to believe that or believe it. I'm not judging either way or saying you need to believe either way. Whatever resonates for you is truth. Again, use your intuition. Everybody has their own intuition. They have gut feelings. They're something feels right to them, and they're drawn to something for a reason. There could be a lesson there you need to learn. There could be growth there with that person or that situation or that job or whatever that you need to learn. Your soul is yearning and pulling you to that. Your guides are helping pull you to that person, place, or thing for growth. And yes, you have free will. You can fight it. You can stuff it down. You can ignore it. Keep yourself busy. All that's going to do is ultimately delay your journey. And sometimes the divine will come in and give you a tower moment. And if you're not familiar with tarot, tower moments are inevitable events that occur out of your control a lot of times, either as a result of your own actions or the divine brings it in. Divine justice and divine judgment. And they make a judgment and they push certain events to happen in your life, or they push an awakening on you that you were fighting and resisting and didn't want to look at or grow into. And personal growth happens, spiritual growth happens. Part of that is clearing blockages within your chakra system. If you're not familiar with what the chakra system is, go Google that. Because that's very important. And that is your energy centers in your body that assist in the, what I'm hearing is assist with the integration of your soul body to your physical body. And when there are blockages in one or several of these chakra systems, whether it's limiting beliefs about yourself or your worthiness, your fears of abandonment or rejection, you're not good enough, whatever it is, that's going to prevent you from flowing in your life, from coming into your blessings, coming into your life purpose, coming into your spiritual gifts being activated. The ascension process, I've said this on previous videos, the spiritual awakening and ascension process is going to typically that will activate dormant DNA codes in your cell bodies and your chakra systems, in your soul matrix and everything, that will activate certain spiritual gifts to awaken and become more prominent. Some people are born with these turned on and activated, and again, that's for their life purpose. Some are not, and then they get activated later in life. If you ever notice, some people get a stronger intuition as they get older, and they work through life challenges and they work on themselves. A lot of times their intuition will get stronger. They'll just know things before they happen or something like that. Sorry, there's a loud drag car going by, I guess, on the road nearby. But I'm feeling like there's a collective here that is going through an awakening or another level of awakening. Spiritual awakenings happen in stages and levels. And each time that you come up against a choice, it usually comes down to choosing yourself and self-love. either creating boundaries, leaving a job that you know is less than what you deserve, or you don't deserve to be treated a toxic environment, whatever, and you don't deserve to be treated that way. And you make that decision for self-love and you choose yourself. That is choosing your higher self. A lot of times when we go through major life changes like that, we get, in a way, we could get a level up spiritually and more awakening, more spiritual insights. Third eye chakra, can be cleared because there was lessons there that needed to be learned, karmic toxic cycles that needed to be ended with certain individuals or a job or a situation you remove yourself from, whatever it is. And that's part of the ascension process of knowing thyself, coming back to yourself, your soul self, which is one with the divine. And so some people will experience, insights and truths after they make a major decision and a change in their life. Insights will come usually after the major chaos, the tower moment has happened, which, usually is an ending of some sort. An ending of limiting mindset beliefs, negative mindset. It can be ending of a relationship, a major relationship in your life, or somebody leaving your life, like, through death. It could be losing a job, any number of things. And a lot of times you're cracked open through that process. Your heart chakra is cracked open. You're broken down to a point where you have an ego death. And that's what the dark night of the soul is. And yes, we go through several dark nights of the soul on our journey as we learn to let go of what no longer resonates with us as truth or feels right to us, or we come into our worth and we know that we don't deserve certain things anymore and we choose better. A lot of times that will begin clearing things, but there's also an emotional aspect here. With the heart chakra, there will be bouts of, after the release is done, whatever it is in your life, excuse me, throat chakra. I think somebody's got throat chakra blockages they're trying to work through. Picking up on that. Somebody could have, emotions come up. And when you suffer a huge loss in your life, whether you leave a major relationship that you were really in love with somebody, but putting up with less than what you deserve, or whatever the situation is, it could be abuse or anything. And I hope YouTube didn't flag that word, because I just realized that might be a word they might flag. But whenever you're in situations, whether it be a job or whatever, a family, unit, whatever, that's super toxic and you're not being treated fairly or right, and you finally step up for yourself and you release those people and you release that people in the outcome and come into your power. A lot of times there's going to be a delay. Sometimes there could be right away. There could be bouts of crying. Allow the crying. Don't stuff it down. Don't keep yourself busy. Obviously, if you got to work, you got to work. But sometimes it's going to come and it's going to be overwhelming and it's going to hit you no matter what you're doing. Allow it, because part of clearing heart chakra blockages is allowing the emotions to be fully felt, which can be scary to a lot of people. It can be very overwhelming emotionally. Allow the emotions to be fully felt in that moment until they dissipate and expressed through crying, whatever it is, anger, whatever it is. Obviously, don't hurt people. But there are constructive ways of channeling that anger and expressing it and getting it out. You can write in your journal. You can sometimes I record myself talking and expressing things to people. I did that recently to my ex. I expressed things that were on my heart that were very heavy emotionally. And yes, I cried through that message off and on, but I felt so much better afterwards. I did it until I felt a release and I felt more peace come back to me. And that's what you need to do. So if you're resisting, a change, or if you're just going through a change and you made a decision to leave or end the job or whatever it is, there's going to be a grieving period, and it will come in waves, typically, from what my experience. Allow it to come, allow those emotions to be expressed in that moment if you can, and felt fully and not shut off early, if you can help it. Again, you can go back later and fully express those emotions at a more appropriate time. Obviously, if you're in a meeting at work or something, you don't want that to happen, but allow yourself space to fully express and sit in those emotions until you feel at peace, because there will be peace that comes afterwards. There will be clarity typically that comes afterwards. And, sometimes it's a few days, sometimes it's a few weeks or whatever, when you get space or distance from this thing you released. Allow the healing to happen. Healing takes time. It's not linear. It can take years and years for you to fully release a toxic cycle that you left, and allow that. Don't be hard on yourself. Have that self-love and grace for yourself, and look at it from a more positive perspective. Look at what you overcome. Look at the learning lessons you needed to learn in that relationship, because every toxic relationship teaches you something about yourself. And sometimes we don't want to see those things about ourselves, our shadows, our negative aspects of how we, either attracted that person in that situation and kept repeating the cycle with them, or we, allowed certain things to happen because we overgave because of our need for validation and love. We were trying to receive love instead of giving it to ourselves first. And there was a lack there. So I'm feeling like this very heavy right now, and this message is just why I'm talking about this. Again, a lot of times the blockages, when you release something, there'll be a heart chakra, there'll be other blockages that are cleared in other chakra systems, energy centers in your body. For me, it was definitely an upgrade this most recent time when I laid down boundaries and I emotionally detached and surrendered the relationship to God, to the divine, and the outcome of it. And I still love this person with all my heart, unconditionally. And really, these people, there's two in particular, and even my ex, I'm still healing from that. And I've done a lot of healing on that. And yes, my most recent ex-boyfriend definitely helped me with that. He was encouraging me to heal that relationship and forgive him and move on, especially for the sake of our daughter that me and my ex-husband have together. But my ex-boyfriend was encouraging that, and he helped me through a lot of healing. He helped me grow spiritually and personally. He helped me, I think I told this in one of the early episodes, the week, and I think it was on a podcast with my friend Molly with Crossroads Meets the Ocean Rose channel on YouTube. She's an intuitive reader and, high priestess. And she really helped me a lot through my healing journey and my ascension journey as a great guide, and, gave me hope, gave me comfort, gave me insights and things I needed to look at and work on, both with my business, this channel, and with, my relationships. Excuse me, there's throat chakra blockages I'm feeling for somebody. Excuse me for just a moment. I'm going to take a drink. I feel that there's some truths that are coming through somebody that is leaving somebody or a relationship. I'm feeling very strongly, and they are wanting something new for themselves. They know they deserve better. They want their heart's desire. They want to live a better life. They want to be happy overall. They just want to be happy, and they haven't felt like they've been themselves. They've been wearing a mask, a false mask, put it on a smile for people. They've been fake. They've been, again, this is no judgment on anybody. I'm just explaining what's coming through. They've not been true to their heart and themselves, and they're now choosing themselves. They're making a decision to choose themselves and leave. And there's a lot of guilt and shame over this, especially in regards to the culture and their family traditions, their belief system. I think there's a big, a tie to a family and their beliefs of divorce or whatever it is, leaving this person because maybe the family really liked them or there was some strong ties there, and they were encouraged to stay for the betterment of the family or whatever, what have you. I'm feeling that really strongly, and they didn't want to leave. They felt shame. They felt guilt over, they felt maybe they were being selfish or told they were being selfish, but they're not. Because their soul was calling for a higher love for themselves first, for coming into union with the divine within. They were not being true to their heart. They were not being true to themselves and choosing themselves. And that's what I just had to go through. And I know that there's others in the collective that are going through this at the time. Again, it doesn't have to be a person. It can be a friend group. It could be a family members. Removing them out of your life, or at least creating strong boundaries for your own peace of mind and peace. Again, peace. I'm hearing peace beyond all understanding. Peace that you need in order to heal fully and give yourself space to heal. Remove the toxicity out of your life, the controlling, manipulative people, toxic, end those toxic cycles. That takes time. That also takes decisive action. And I was feeling, when I channeled the heart chakra message the other day, I'm hearing again and I'm seeing the Chariot card in the tarot. And no, I don't practice tarot at the moment. I don't know if that's something that God is going to lead me to do. We'll see. I do have tarot decks. I do have oracle decks, but I haven't at the moment been guided to do that. I've been more guided to listen to the channeled information, to follow that intuitive guidance and the channeled information. But I feel like somebody is really like having a hard time with the guilt and the shame of ending a toxic karmic cycle, and they're beating themselves up. And it's part of letting go. It's part of choosing yourself. You're going to feel, especially if you're not used to doing that for many, many years, you're used to this old person that you used to be of, stuffing your own wants and needs down for the sake of others, making others happy, whether it be your family, your parents, your friends, your boss, your, wife, girlfriend, whatever. You're used to putting yourself second, or last in some cases, and you're now feeling guilty over making a decision to choose yourself. But you got to go with your own intuitive guidance. If your soul is guiding you and pulling you strongly towards something that is your heart's desire, and you're getting inspired, you're getting excited, not in a toxic sense like lustfully or whatever, but you're getting excited. Your heart, is pulling you towards something. Your intuition is pulling you towards something or somebody. And I'm not saying to leave. I'm not at all encouraging people to leave a marriage for somebody, and just up and leave, Um, Again, I'm just getting whatever guidance is coming through. I feel very strongly for a lot of people that this is a particular relationship, a long-standing relationship that has been in somebody's life that has been overdue for them to leave. It has been overdue, and it has ended long ago, but they have refused, I'm hearing, to let go, out of guilt, shame, and judgment from others and judgment to themselves. But again, you have to follow your heart and your intuition. If your heart and your soul are pulling you towards something, and again, you know, It may not be the grass, obviously the grass is not greener on the other side, but if you have been fully unhappy in a relationship for many, many years, and you're now contemplating or you're now leaving and choosing yourself, it's for a reason. It means that toxic cycle or that cycle has ended and that karmic contract or whatever it is, the learning lessons that you needed to learn are done, and it's either been ended or it was time to end. And there's a lot of endings going on in the collective right now with people in their lives, whether it be a job, whether it be, relationships, whether it be friendships, cutting out family members, whatever. Even negative mindsets, always being pessimistic and being in victim mentality and everything happens to me, blah, blah, blah. That's ending for a lot of people in the collective because we have to ascend. We are being pushed. The chariot energy, fire horse, Chinese year right now is being pushing us to end things that no longer serve us and move forward to our life purpose, move forward into our healing, move forward into choosing ourselves and coming into self-love and oneness with the divine, with the creator. And you're going to be tested. You're going to have major life decisions that have to happen. And there's a lot of fear surrounding that, especially with stability. Again, I'm going through the same thing. But God, when it's time to end, God will, if you're not going to make the decision for yourself a lot of times, and it's your sole purpose, and, God's calling you to do something, you're not listening, you're not taking because of fear a lot. It's because of fear usually. Then God's going to force sometimes a separation or force things to come to a head where it creates a tower moment, what they call a tower moment in tarot. And you're going to be forced to make a decision and to leave, or it will just crumble and fall. And it's out of your control, whether it be, getting let go from a job or whatever. And we're all being pushed to grow right now in the collective. We're all being pushed to let go what no longer serves us. And I mean, this has been a lot longer message that is coming through. Then again, I don't put time frames on this, but I channel until I feel a peace, and the message is done intuitively. But I feel like, some people are being rerouted to a different career path entirely. Maybe something that they didn't have the courage or even thought that they would be pulled to, a relationship, job, whatever, or even a move, I'm hearing. And it could be a major move, like a long distance move out of the area that you've been in. Whatever you're guided to do, a lot of people in the collective are being guided to do that. But I can tell you that a lot of times, we fight what's best for us and we resist the things that are better for us. And then when it's forced, it's painful. It's even more painful if you resist, and then it comes to a tower moment and it's forced by the divine. So if it's not to a tower moment yet, maybe make a choice for yourself, because eventually it will come to a tower moment if it's not meant for you, and it will be forced to end one way or another, whatever it is. Especially if you've been guided and shown that, things keep toxic patterns or whatever keeps recurring, whatever it is, negative mindset, whatever. We're being forced to change right now, and changes is hard. It's scary. It's unstabilizing, but you've got to believe that it is for a higher purpose. It needs to come for a reason. That's God's way of showing you that the door is being closed in that area of your life, and you need to end this cycle, and you need to introspect, and you need to see your part in it, the lessons that you needed to learn of not choosing yourself. Because usually, in my belief, that is what usually it comes down to. It's not choosing yourself in some way, not choosing your heart's desire, not choosing your higher self, and depriving yourself of love or money or whatever it is, of happiness. And you do deserve happiness. Every single one of you, every soul deserves to be happy, deserves to have the heart's desire, deserves to have the unconditional love from another and devotion and doting, whatever you crave, whatever it wants. You deserve that. You are worthy. You are enough. I had to hear that. And I was so very thankful that I got that message that I am enough one day at work. One of my good coworker, friends, they came in one day and obviously they had a message just for me. And it spoke to me so deeply, I cried right there. I couldn't hold back because I was contemplating the divorce at the time from my ex-husband. I was feeling low. I was feeling low worth. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I felt guilty. I felt shame. And that spoke to me in that moment. That he did had, I told him this not long ago. He had no idea what that message did to me. Those 3 words. And he even wrote it down on a sticky note and put it on my monitor. He had no idea how deeply that spoke to my soul and to me and gave me a better opinion about myself and helped me move forward with making the decision to divorce and choosing myself and my higher self. And yes, weeping may endure for a night, but there's joy in the morning. We're going to go through hard times when there's endings like that. We're going to go through a period of, the dark night of the soul, feeling bad about yourself, shame, guilt, pain, crying, whatever. Allow the emotions, allow those to come through, no matter how you've been taught or raised, especially if you're masculines. Allow those emotions to be expressed fully until you get a peace, because holding them back is just going to postpone the inevitable, and eventually they will pour out. Eventually they will, or they'll create another major blockage and you will have another tower moment. God is forcing us to change and ascend in a way. I mean, he's not forcing us. We always have free will, of course, but we're being pushed and guided by life circumstances or our intuition, one way or another, to grow spiritually and personally, to choose ourselves in some way more and more, to grow and ascend. And I just want to encourage some people out there that if you're tuning into this message and this is resonating for you, follow your intuitive guidance. Continue taking those steps, even though they may be baby steps, or however you're guided to do. Follow your intuitive guidance. Your heart and your intuition will lead the way. And, trust and faith. Have faith in divine, faith in God, faith in the creator of all, that if that's your heart's desire and you're being guided to something very strongly and pulled to something, that, and you're intuitively getting, insights and hits, to leave or end something, then that's for a purpose. That's for a reason. That's your guidance. And begin listening to that. Start taking steps. Start taking those steps. Start working on your inner healing, your shadow work, forgiving yourself, forgiving others, letting them go, releasing them to the highest good, to the divine in love and light. If you're new to this and you're just now tuning in, and you haven't watched my earlier videos, the one that was the podcast, there's an episode on there on how I talked about going through what I did personally. When I made the decision to go through the divorce, and then I started, contact the attorney and started the proceedings, getting him to start working on the paperwork, I began my healing journey then. I told myself, I know I'm part of this fallout of this relationship. I know I chose the wrong person, and I know I'm part of this. I had a part in this, and it takes two to tango. And you attracted that person for a reason to learn certain life lessons. And I need to learn those lessons. I need to see what they are. I need to look within myself. What are my toxic patterns? I knew I was toxic because things were very negative. I was constantly unsupported, felt unloved, felt taken advantage of financially and other ways. And then I was unfulfilled, constantly unfulfilled in the relationship. And then I started seeing I had a repeat pattern of this in relationships. The insight was there. Once I made the decision, God opened up and gave me more insight through my third eye, through my spiritual abilities. And I began seeing these toxic ways that I was acting in relationships. That takes work, especially, if you're going to keep repeating a cycle until you learn those lessons and you do the inner work. That is so, so important on this journey. And if you're looking for ways of doing that inner work, again, there's many different ways. And you could be guided differently than what I suggested in my earlier video. But go back and look at those earlier videos and see, the things that I listed. And I think, one of the first things I did was, I saw a video by, I think his name is Stefan. It's either Stephen or Stefan. I think it's Stefan Speaks. He has a great channel on YouTube. He offers great guidance for relationships, and he highly encourages people to work on themselves and heal between relationships after a breakup. And that's something that I was guided to. And in a podcast he had with, I think it was what is his name? Howes, is it Lewis Howes or Louis Howes? I can't remember his name. He was being interviewed. Stefan was being interviewed on his podcast, and he was asked, what do you suggest with your clients? Because he works with clients on relationships and healing, and help healing toxic patterns and, counseling, whatever. And he had mentioned writing letters to the, people as one of the options you can start to work on. You don't have to give the letters to those people. And sometimes it may be a letter to somebody deceased. And for me, that's what I did. But he told people, one of the things you can do is start with your healing journey, and you can start by making a list of people that have hurt you in the past. And again, this is more of a subconscious thing that'll help drive this list. I found it very interesting, and I've said this in prior videos, I found it very interesting when I made this list of the people who have hurt me. My dad and my mom were the first two on the list. And there was no coincidence in the chronological order of that list of people that I listed, because that went in order of the depth of the pain and the trauma, or, whatever occurred there. That went in the depth. The higher the depth, the higher up on the list they were, and the more healing that was needed. And so I worked on the letters in that order. And for me, I think there was like 5 or 6 people that came to my mind right away. And I write the list as long as I need until, nothing else came out, nobody else popped up. And so I wrote letters to those people. And when I did, and you can type it too, you don't have to handwrite it out. For me, I type better than I can write. But I was guided to write these letters to these people, pour out my heart, tell them how they hurt me. No matter how ugly it was, I had cuss words in some of them, because that's what he encourages you to do. Get it all out. Be fully authentic in these letters. And as if you're talking to these people and telling them how they hurt you, get it out until, and keep writing it out until you feel at peace, until you feel like it's done, and you're done talking, and sharing that. And that's what I did. And then there was a release of that, and this is coming out for somebody. So somebody needs to work on heart chakra blockages and removing those and healing their heart chakra. And it'll help heal their third eye chakra, and they get their intuition will greaten, and they will be more guided for the next step and things they need to do. in their life. So that's why I'm sharing this. So I know this is getting a little bit lengthy, so I'm going to try to wrap this up, as I feel guided, but look at that video that I shared early in my podcast. It's one of the first few episodes, I believe. I'm thinking it's one of the first 5 episodes that I shared on my healing journey and what I did and where it came from, where I got guided to do it, and how I did it and how it helped me. And that's just the beginning of healing. Because again, healing is not linear and it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time and years and years and years to heal. And sometimes we never fully heal in a lifetime from certain things, but we can do a lot of our healing through, taking certain steps and doing certain techniques and exercises. So anyway, I just wanted to share that was the message that was coming through very strongly here lately, is the heart chakra clearing again. Somebody's going, people are going through endings right now in the collective. And to follow your guidance, don't beat up on yourself. Don't feel bad for leaving the person, place, or thing that no longer served you, that was putting you in turmoil, that was hurting you in some way, because you're choosing your higher self. You're choosing self-love, and that's what's important. Your peace is the most important thing. It's in your relationship with God, obviously. And but choosing yourself in your relationship with God is the most important thing. And that will lead you through your healing journey, through your removing all the toxic things and chaos out of your life, which people, places, and things that no longer serve you, that create the chaos. Removing that out of your life and getting your peace is super important to your ascension journey, to your healing. You got to remove yourself from all of that and keep yourself safe and protected. Protect your peace above everything. Really protect that peace, because it is so important. That's what I've learned on this journey. It doesn't matter how attached you are, how much you love somebody. If they are not putting you in a place of peace, you have to choose yourself and choose your peace, because there could be healing there that you need to do and that person needs to do. Choose yourself. So I wanted to, share that was the message coming through this morning very heavily. Again, I had got a lot of intuitive things, words that came through. Again, 1, 2, or some, or a lot of these could resonate for you. And some of them could not. But take what resonates for you, that it has a meaning for you or hits you intuitively, that it means something to you, and leave the rest for somebody else. Because again, I read for a collective here, and that's a lot of people. And, some of these things are meant for other people and not for you. So again, this is a timeless message. So whenever you're coming across this message, it's for you at this time. It's for you in your journey at this time. And, don't look at when it was posted. Look at the message that's coming through, because somebody, needs to hear this whenever you see this. And that's with all my messages. I want to thank you all so much for your love, your prayers, your support for me and my family on this journey. And I'm so very grateful for any support you can offer me, whether it be prayers, emotional support, listening to me, or even liking and commenting or hitting the share button. You don't have to share it with anybody, but I believe if you hit the share button on this video, it'll help the algorithm and it'll help show it to more people. And that's what needs to happen here. I'm sure there's other people that I don't currently have on my subscription list or have viewed this that need to see some are, see this message for some reason. And your support of even liking or commenting and hitting the share button without sharing will even help me on that journey. So thank you for all of your love and support. And I want to leave you in gratitude and in love and light from the Creator and from myself. Thank you so much again, and I hope you all take care.